guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Olivia. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's video is going to be an eyebrow tutorial. I get a lot of questions on my social media or when I'm out and about on my eyebrows and how I do them. I have done a detailed blog post step by step on how I do my eyebrows on my blog. I'll make sure to leave a link down to the website below so you can click on that and have a look. But I have also had requests to do a video tutorial on it, so that's what this video is going to be about today. Eyebrows for me are so key to any kind of look. They are the curtains, do they call them curtains, or the frame to your face? I think if your eyebrows are jacked up, honestly, I don't know what else you're going to do because I'm judging you by your eyebrows. I'm sorry, but I am. So a neutral, natural look is kind of what I do, and I do my eyebrows every day almost, unless I'm quickly going out to run an errand in the neighborhood. I will do my eyebrows. I don't leave the house without doing my eyebrows. I feel as though my face looks super bare without them. You'll see in the next clips when I have no makeup on what my eyebrows actually look like. I have really sparse hair, and so I find that when they're a bit more put together and defined, then it kind of helps to pull up my whole face and gives me a really good clean look, even if I haven't got much else going on my face. So before I start the tutorial, of course I can't forget to tell you to make sure to like this video if you do find the tutorial useful, and to make sure to subscribe to my channel. Newbie over here, please also make sure to share if you find it useful and you think other people would also find it useful. Please, please, please leave me a comment down below. I'd love to get to know who my subscribers are, and I'd love to hear from you if you have certain ideas that you have for videos that you'd like me to film. I'm very open to that. What else do I need to tell you? Yes, I am on social media as I mentioned, and make sure to leave my details just up here. So make sure to check me out, drop in, say hi. But otherwise, I think we can just get into this tutorial. So until my next video, bye. Okay, so we're starting off with a completely bare face. I am tackling a hormonal breakout, so please don't judge the quality of my skin right now. I'm trying to work on it and bring it back up. I have these breakouts about once every 6 months or so, and they end up being quite like, what's the word? I had a bit of cystic acne across my cheeks and my chin, but we're getting at least onto the other side of that, so don't let that put you off. So clean brows. So before I go into the detailed tutorial, I thought I would run through the tools that I use, just so you can make sure that you have all the things that you need in your kit to be able to do the same look. So going through one by one, the first tool that you need is a spoolie brush. I got this one from... Where did I get this one from? Oh, in a set from Killimore, an eye set. If it's still available, I'll link it, but honestly, the rest of the brush set isn't that good, so I wouldn't even suggest buying it just for this one brush. But just so you can see what I'm talking about, a spoolie brush, but you can get these actually in most beauty supply stores, probably around town. Essentially, all you want is the bristle so that you can comb through your brow hairs. That's the purpose of that brush. The next thing you need is an eye pencil. I do my brows using pencil and brows interchangeably depending on the look that I want. I have been doing them with gel for a few months, but a couple of days ago I decided I was going back to pencil. I don't know what made me want to do that, but I'm back to pencil right now, and I'll be showing you this tutorial with pencil. But actually the steps that I'm going to take you through, you can do exactly the same way with a gel pomade for your brows, so don't worry about that. So the pencil I love, the writing's written off on the side of the pencil, but this is a Davis pencil. You can get this anywhere around Nairobi. It's about 40 shillings, like it's really inexpensive. And the shade number I use is 003. If you are my shade or lighter, or even just a little bit darker, you do not, 100% do not want to use a black pencil. I don't know how much I can stress this. I see some people walking around town with black pencil on their brows. It's not cute, honey. Make sure you use a brown, unless you are super, super, super dark and brown pencils aren't showing up on your skin tone because actually it's the same color as your skin. Stay away from a black pencil. It will look too harsh, too unnatural. It doesn't look good on anybody. So make sure you pick up a brown. So the shade I have is 003. If you're my complexion or a little bit on either side, you can get away with this number. If you're much lighter than I am, then you'll want a different pencil that's a little bit lighter. And the way that the numbers work on the Davis pencils is that the higher the number, the lighter the pencil is. So 003, 02 and 01 are darker than 03, and anything higher than that then is lighter than this pencil. So go out, have a look, but you can pick up this. The other reason I really like this pencil is because it comes with a sharpener, so you don't need to have another sharpener hanging around, so you get everything in one. Then the next thing I'm going to talk about is a duo. They don't come sold together, but I'm going to just talk about them together because you can't use one without the other. So the first is my concealer, creamy concealer. This is the MAC Studio Sculpt concealer in the shade NW50. It's a creamy pot concealer, quite thick consistency, heavy duty concealer. You can see how much I've loved it there. And then I pair this with an eyebrow penciled and angled liner brush, so it has a sharper point on one end, taller end on one end, and it's slanted towards the other end, kind of like that. This one is from Susie Beauty. I ride or die for this pencil, as in this brush, sorry. Susie, if you stop making this brush, we're gonna have a fight. Like, I need more backups of this. I did buy one other backup of this brush, so it's gonna be fine. But this brush is amazing. The reason I like it so much is because with a lot of angled liner brushes that you buy, when you put product on them, they don't kind of thin out. The surface area is quite wide or quite thick, so you can't end up with a really sharp, precise line. This, when you first get it, isn't as thin, but somehow when you load product onto it, it's like magic. When you load product onto it, it becomes really thin, so you can get such a detailed line with this. So I love this. It is a little bit pricey, and I haven't found one that I like more than this. So if anybody has any recommendations of other ones that you have that kind of work like this, I'd be glad to try them out and let you know what I think of them also. But this is my ride or die. So I pair the two together, and they are used to carve out my brows, and I'll show you how I do that in a few. And then the last tool that I love is a fluffy, domed, dense brush. Dense is being the keyword here. The denser the brush, the better it is. This one is from a kit that I got from Morphe. I think it was a 6-piece brush set, contour set. I'll make sure to link it down below. I love it because it is really dense, so that means you can buff out any concealer and get a really clean, smooth, blended out look without having an obvious line of concealer under your eyebrows. So those are the tools that I use. I'll make sure to link as much as I can down below. But as I said, the pencil is really affordable. You can probably find it in your neighborhood chemist. Susie Beauty, I'll make sure to link that. If you don't have a spoolie brush, then you can use a toothbrush, an old toothbrush, that will also work. It's just you want it to be able to brush. Maybe even, just had a brainwave, maybe even a baby toothbrush so that it's a little bit smaller, because I was thinking an adult toothbrush would probably be a bit big, so maybe a baby toothbrush or something. Okay, so those are the tools. Let's get into the tutorial. So the first step is to comb through my brushes with a spoolie brush. So I'm combing upwards towards the front and then towards the latter portion, then I brush it kind of horizontally. You don't have to get this bit perfect, but it's just to kind of tidy up and give you an idea of what you're doing. The next step is going to be shaping the eyebrows and defining the shape of the brows before we fill them in. If you're really lucky and you have quite thick hair, then your eyebrows will already, then it'll be quite easy for you to do this if you have had your eyebrows groomed and they've been tweezed. If you have really fine hair like me, which kind of disappears towards the end, then you will need a little bit of guidance to be able to give you the shape that will look good on your face. There are lots of different shapes that you can use for your eyebrows. So there's the classic arched shape, there's a kind of more straighter shape, there's a rounder shape. I kind of just follow a general shape of my eyebrows, which are a little bit arched, and that's kind of the way that I used to tweeze them. I don't really tweeze them that much now because I've got hardly any hair to work with anyway. But I think that the arched look kind of looks classic on everybody. The straight look, it depends on how your face is constructed, and also the rounded look can end up looking a little bit funny in my opinion. So I always recommend to people to do an arched shape brow. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I don't do these steps every time I do my brows because I've kind of got the muscle memory now, so I know where the shape should be, more or less. But just for a quick tip to be able to show you, if you're new to this and you haven't got a shape to your brows, or you want to make sure to redefine the shape of your brows, then this is the way that you can do it. So it's basically a 3-step process. There's 3 points that I'm going to draw out on my eyebrows, and then we're going to join up those lines together, and then you will have like a pretty good arch for your shape, for your face. So the first step is to make sure that you get the points in the middle of your brows. You don't want them to come in too far close together. You don't want a monobrow, that is not cute for anybody. And you don't also want them to be too far apart, otherwise it will make your eyebrows look wide apart and you'll also look too funny. So the best way to do this is to have a look at your nose, and where you have these little dips where your nostrils start to flare out, you want to line up the pencil from that point up to your eyebrows, and that should be as far in as your eyebrows go. You can kind of play around with it to be a little bit further apart, but honestly you don't want to come in any further than that, otherwise you will start to look a bit monobrow. So what I do is grab my pencil, and then on the bottom line, and we're only doing this on the bottom, is to draw a little dot with the pencil on both sides. I hope you can see that there. So that kind of defines for you the innermost point of where your eyebrows are going to start. And then the next thing I want to do is to pinpoint where the arch is going to be on the brows. So for that, you want to have your pencil at the tip of your nose, and then you want to try and draw a straight line with your pencil through the direct middle of your eye. So where that little black dot is, is it the iris? No, the pupil. The pupil, you want to try and mimic a line from the tip of your nose through your pupil and then to your eyebrow, and then you should have the point of where the arch should naturally sit for your face. So that's like this, and then through there, and then it should be somewhere around there. Just make that a little bit more pronounced for you. Somewhere around there. And then do the same on the other side. I don't know why this trick works, and I can't remember where I came across it, but years ago, but honestly it works, and your eyebrows will always look good like this. And then the final one is to determine where the point is going to be. Of course you don't want your eyebrows coming down all the way down here to meet where your eye is, and you don't want them kind of coming out all the way out here to meet your hairline. So you want to try and get them just at a nice kind of middle point there. So the trick there is to line up again your pencil on the tip of your nose, but this time, instead of going through the pupil, you want to have it go on the outer corner of your iris, the coloured part of your eye. So you want to do this, outer corner, and that is roughly where the line should come down. Oops. Try and look as straight as you can into your mirror as you're doing this, so that you don't throw off anything off center. So there are the 3 dots on each eye, and then now the trick is just really easy. You just want to kind of join those dots up. So I'm going to take pencil and very gentle hand here. You don't want to press too hard. The thing about this pencil is it's quite creamy. So if you press down too hard, you'll end up with too much product. So you just want to join up those lines the best you can. And then once you've done that, you want to join the second dot to the third, third dot. And sorry, my camera stopped recording there. So that's the general shape of the bottom part of your brows done. So now you want to do the kind of the same thing on the top, although we don't want to start at the same point as we did there before. We want to go in a little bit, so almost like a centimetre in. And then that's when you want to start drawing your line. And so you just want to do the same kind of thing. You can see I'm not starting all the way at the same point. There's where I started before, that's where I'm starting now. The trick when you come to the arch is not to start curving your line downwards at the same point at which you drew that first dot. So the second dot is kind of there, and I don't want to start curving down immediately. I want to take it a little bit further and then curve down. Something like that. And then again on this side. Oh. Okay, I hope you can see that. Don't worry at the moment, my eyebrows are looking very thick, but we will clean that up afterwards with the concealer. The point is that you just want to make sure that you've got the rough shape in there. So that's the shape kind of outline, and then now it's kind of easy because all you need to do is to fill it in. I'm just going to sharpen my pencil a little bit more. So for filling in, I always start at the tail end because that's quite easy. We just want that to be quite full and thick, so that's kind of almost like a solid colour. But we're still going to use a very light hand, so kind of hair-like strokes, but you want to make sure that it's quite opaque. I'm not going to fill in my brows all the way to the front because we want to do something different with the front bit to make it look a bit natural. We don't want a solid block of a brow. So I'm going to stop just about where that top line was. Where that top line started, I'm going to stop just about there. So I'm going to fill in this side now. Just fine hair-like strokes. You want to make sure that it's quite opaque. Okay, so that's the tail portion of the brows filled in. I'm sharpening again because this bit's really important. You need a sharp pencil for this. So the front portion, we want to make it look natural. We don't want to have it be too heavy. So the thing that I'm going to do now is to mimic hair-like strokes. So that's why you need a really fine tip on your pencil. So make sure it's really sharp. And then what we're going to do is to draw lines vertically and then almost diagonally joining the other lines in this front portion of the brow. A really light hand. Don't be tempted to do this heavily. We want this front part to look really natural. I also haven't got much hair in the front part of my brow. So that's what we do. So that's what they look like now, with the hairs in. Next step, grab your spoolie and then we're going to comb through the hairs just to make it look a little bit more natural and to get rid of that really solid line that's still quite visible at the bottom. Just going to brush upwards and diagonally through the hairs just to make sure we get a nice even distribution through there. Okay, so that's the brows done, filled in. So the next step now is to go in with some concealer. I know people used to do the whole two-step concealer thing under the eyes and over the eyes. Some people still do it, some people don't. I'm in the camp that doesn't do that anymore. I just find that it's a lot of hard work for me to try and blend out that top section if it's not done properly. Because my hair's quite fine and I don't have too many hairs that are growing kind of wildly up on top, I don't really feel like I need to do it. If you have quite thick hair or you feel like you would want to do that step and have it really carved out, then go ahead. I just will show you how to carve out the bottom part of my brows. The second key point I have to make is about choosing the shade of your concealer. Honestly girls, please don't be doing this. I know when eyebrows became a thing, everyone was like, yeah, go 2 to 3 shades lighter than, no. Do not go 2 to 3 shades lighter than your skin tone. Please, 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 maximum 1 shade lighter. But honestly, I would say actually just go for the shade that is as close to your skin tone as you can get it. I'm typically in MAC and NW48, although it runs a little bit red. But in this concealer, I actually get NW50 because they don't do all of the numbers in between. And so NW50 really works well for me and blends in quite well with my brows. And you can't so obviously tell that my eyebrows have been filled in and they end up looking quite natural. If I was to go any lighter than this, you would be able to tell and it would look really, really pronounced. And so what the aim really is trying to get really good looking groomed brows, but have them looking like they're actually yours and you haven't actually filled them in. So what I'm going to do is to open this up and go in with my angled liner brush from Susie Beauty, and I'm coating both sides of the brush with the product. Just a little bit on, you don't need too much. I'll kind of do a couple of swipes on both sides. And then we're going to carve out this brow. So the way you want to hold your pencil is to have the longer tip closest to the inner part of your brow. So the longer part of the brush is the innermost side and the shorter side to the outer. And because it's this kind of angled shape, it's actually really easy to carve this out. You don't have to use an angled liner brush. You can actually use like a square flat top brush or even a round concealer kind of shaped brush. But I find that this is really easy for me to be able to use to carve out that curve. So I'm just going to follow the shape of my eyebrows, and here's where if you've made your eyebrows a bit too thick, you can cut in a little bit just to make them a little bit more slim. So gentle strokes. Not trying to do too much with that. Once I've applied the concealer, I actually take the brush and drag down concealer from where I've applied it into my eyebrow space, just below. Just because it's quite a thick concealer. You don't want to have a really obvious line there. Yep, brush down like that. And then I do the same to the other eye. So pick up some more concealer on my brush. Excuse me. And then do the same for the other eye. Sometimes when I'm doing this, and especially if I'm doing it quite quickly, I can end up rubbing off some pencil that I didn't intend to rub off. So if you do that, no worries, just go back in with your pencil and redraw whatever you've rubbed off. The art of doing your eyebrows is an art, it's not a science. Don't expect it to be, 100% perfect. What you want to do and what you want to aim for, and I'm sure you've heard this before, is to try and have your eyebrows be sisters. Even first cousins I think is passable, but they don't have to be twins, so they don't have to be absolute duplicates of each other. Very rarely have I ever managed to have them be like exactly perfect and a perfect match for each other. Also because I have one expressive eyebrow, I think it's this one, that really likes to lift up and down, and this one does not do that, so they're never going to be exactly the same. But what you don't want is for them to be, second, third, fourth covered and removed. You want them to still look like they're related. So once you've done the concealer, you've dragged it down now into the eyebrow space. The last step is to grab your fluffy brush and then now to just blend that out. So again, just with a gentle hand, and I do kind of sweeping motions. You want to take this up really close to where the line of where the concealer and the eyebrow pencil meet. And then bring it down, any excess, onto your eyelids. Perfect. So that's my eyebrows done.